Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we're talking Love, Marriage, Huntsville / Carlos King. Y'all know why y'all here. Anything I say is alleged in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to subscribe to this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to subscribe to my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram on the Instagrammies at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to, post the link to this video to your friends, your family, your foes, all of the things, you guys, so it can get out to these algorithms. So we need to do a quick recap of KEMPIRE's 2-hour live. Shout out to KEMPIRE, you guys. And we're going to title this The Circle to the HELL, the pits of HELL, if you will, because in dealing with Carlos King, that's where you end up, you guys. But shout out to KEMPIRE and to WeGo Podcast. Sorry if I'm butchering your podcast name, but I think that's what it is, WeGo Podcast, who's trying to reach 3,000 subscribers. So please subscribe to her channel and support her platform. They did a very excellent job. See, this is what it means, you guys, to do a documentary and to have receipts, you guys. Have receipts from actual interviews, actual quotes, and things like that, and just not just random screenshots from super chats and screenshots from thumbnails on YouTube and stuff, but like actual receipts of people who were on Carlos King produced shows. I think the only thing that was left out was the drama that happened in the lawsuit with R&B Divas, and how a couple of these other more recent shows of Carlos King, the ratings and the renewals are nowhere to be found, like Family Empire Houston, like what was it, Bold and Bougie or whatever, that came on WeTV, and everything else just poof and you missed it. But nonetheless, I'll try to summarize this as quickly as I can, and the only way that I can, and that was they started off quickly kind of doing their own surviving Carlos King, if you will, basically saying, listen, looky here are all the black women that Carlos King claims to protect, but they somehow basically have horror stories on the way out the door, and provide examples of Carlos King and or his production team basically overseeing all this foolishness. They highlight the scene that was discovered that aired on Philo, aired on Own On Demand with, the grooming allegations. They talked about that. KEMPIRE talked about how they are removing those clips everywhere except for Twitter. Because Twitter is is down with the get down with Elon Musk in charge. Anything goes on Twitter, but everywhere else, apparently OWN is sending these strikes, is making you take it down, even if you try to refute it. They're saying no. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna stay. You're gonna have to deal with it. So nonetheless, he thinks that this could potentially be for legal reasons. They don't want legal ramifications. Basically just chronicled each black woman's story, right? Just chronicled, how Destiny's a lie, how she's a flat out lie, and how Martell doesn't see how these grooming allegations can negatively impact him as well, can negatively put a stain on his reputation as well. He's just in there just hoping to just, get at Mel, try to quote unquote ruin Mel, but he doesn't realize he is, all of this is going to come back to him in one way or the other, right? And, then also briefly called out Tisha on just her running her mouth. Kimmy, they said Kimmy had a moment of levity where it didn't seem like she was produced or anything when she realized that there was some very maliciousness and nastiness going on. It's one thing if they want to make up a fake internet rumor about Mel and all this other stuff. It's another about something where they were all in the limo, but we still to this day do not have receipts or proof of what actually did go on in that limo. But we know Tisha added in some butter on it, and Destiny twisted it around to make it seem like it was a Mel thing, but really it was a Martell thing. And that opens up a whole nother can of worms of what really did or didn't go down, right? but tried to tie that all into grooming, and it didn't make sense. They talked about her appearance on her podcast where they were unsure if she really walked it back or not. And then, of course, Dion kept saying, oh, nothing's going to happen. You have to prove it's a lie if you're going to get sued. But you guys would not say Mel's name. You wouldn't say Sonny's name. And you said yourself that you used the wrong word. You should have used something else. You should have gave better examples, da-da-da-da-da. When the bottom line was you basically just said people were freaky. But that would have to include yourself if you've allegedly had a threesome already and on camera were trying to suggest threesomes to Scott's 2.0. And furthermore, was, again, hanging all over Mel, telling her how much you love her, how you want to be a part of her village, da-da-da-da-da-da, right? And so nonetheless, they said since Mel's gone, they're gone. After this last reunion episode this past week, they feel like they have their freedom back. And, and it is what it is. But they just don't understand for Carlos King, how he does all this gaslighting and then using his podcast show to try to make it seem like he's trying to be here for all these black women and it has an open space and let's have a real conversation. And it's nothing but a setup to attack other black women on his shows, and he does nothing. They threw shade that his recent podcast, his recent couple, were pre-recorded because Carlos King cannot face the music when he is facing the backlash. They also called out the fact that Carlos King, as well, they were trying to figure out what would be the direction of the show because there's not going to be, you would have to replace Mel alone with 3 or 4 other couples, and that's not going to happen because we know Carlos King is allegedly cheap. So nonetheless, he's going to try to work with what he has, and that is a bleep show if what is allegedly going to be filmed, which is going to be fake fighting amongst Tren, nobody cares about that. Nobody cares. So nonetheless, they wanted to take it back to the end of last year. They posted the clip when Aikisha quit live on air on Mr. Mondays to the shock of Carlos King, and his face was frozen. I thought something happened to his, internet connection and everything else, and everybody's reaction were priceless, where she said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, I got my renewal letter, but also deuces, I'm not coming back. Also chronicled, so Gucci kind of gave the backstory as to what actually happened on the Carlos King live, how Carlos King was embarrassed and privated that live when she called him out for being two-faced and lying about whether or not Selena was going to be on the show or not, and basically telling So Gucci one thing, but then she found out behind the scenes via another producer what was really going on, and so she felt, Carlos King didn't contact her since. They highlighted her interview with Millie Chan, shout out to Millie Chan, where she is speaking on, whether or not she felt that Mel should have left the show sooner, talked about how she felt that she just did not have any backing from Carlos King and that he called her a few weeks ago, apparently, allegedly, basically alluding to her wanting to come back on the show. Wanting her to come back, but not really saying in a way that was making her feel like things were going to be different, something was going to change. Basically, it was, she knew in her heart that if she accepted this, they basically needed somebody to go in on the attack. And we knew this was going to happen, right? We knew that they were setting this up to try to tear down Aikisha, which is why Aikisha quit, because they were going to try to use that fight to make it seem like Aikisha is not this good person. She's this terrible person, da-da-da-da-da. And since she was gone, they were going to take it out on So Gucci. So Gucci said, deuces, not coming back. I already quit, and everything else. And then also brought up the question on whether or not there was any pending lawsuits. And she said that she is going over every single thing, every nook and cranny with her attorneys, right? Then we move on to winter. So they highlight the Queen Sheba interview. Shout out to Queen Sheba. Highlight, how they said that, the big deal, of course, a lot of people talked about the low pay, the alleged pay between $250 to $2,500 an episode, all of these things, and how she wanted, how Monique wanted Winter to make the same as her and all of this. But they felt the bigger story was the alleged producer who was, yelling at the men to continue to yell and attack Winter and say, to get her, and all those things, and how they felt that was out of line, that was inappropriate, not protecting black women, this and that. highlighted in the interview in which Winner is crying, Winner is upset and everything else, how her glam team is shook and all this is happening. So this is verbal ABUSE, this is inappropriate, this is too far. And then how Carlos King tries to gaslight you after the fact, saying, you know, you can thank you so much, you're a strong woman, da 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 da. And they feel as though, you know, this is the game with Carlos King. Carlos King will do anything for a scene, will do anything for as messy as it gets. Compared how he is with Andy Cohen, how Andy Cohen wants to get in the video, how Andy Cohen wants to be seen, just like Carlos King and all these things. However, there doesn't seem to be a limit. There doesn't seem to be a bar. Once you just cross this line, it's it. And KEMPIRE called out the people who think that he wants to be on reality TV. He was like, no, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. And he was like, for people who think he wants to be Carlos King, he's like, listen, look at my receipts. Check my other channel. Check my other platform. My first interview was with Oprah Winfrey before Love and Marriage Huntsville was a twinkle in the eye. Before Love and Marriage Huntsville was even a thing. Before even Carlos King was on this network. They also highlighted Kandi Burruss, and they referenced the interview that she did, shout out to House of Aaron, where she called out Carlos King trying to steal her life story and trying to steal the Escape life story, and you know, found out basically from behind the scenes that another producer was already interviewing Mama Joyce, trying to, you know, get the rights. And Kandi is like, you know, we were personal friends, we were really close at one point, like my husband and you have worked together on other projects and things, and this is how you do me, this is how you treat me. I want nothing to do with you ever, ever, ever again. So nonetheless, and she was really emotional because she just couldn't believe that somebody had the audacity, right? And then to do it behind her back was just the most disgusting part of it all, was how Carlos King can get close to these people and make it seem he loves you and loves on you and is super close, wants to get all this information out of you. And then the next thing you know, something allegedly is getting stolen and being repurposed and repackaged to another network to try to pitch another show on your behalf, but you're not involved in any of it. Make it make sense. Then they also highlighted the Monique's interview, and I apologize in advance, I don't remember the name of the podcast that she was on the YouTube that she was on, but basically highlighted how Monique called out Carlos King without saying his name, obviously, but how he basically said that he is going to treat her better than how Bravo treated her. He's going to do her better than the quote-unquote melanemic folks did her on Bravo, only for her to be done worse with Carlos King Productions, with Kingdom Reign, than her counterparts at Bravo. And she thought you could at least wait till the second season, you know, to you know, turn on me or give me a bad edit or this and that. And she said a lot of her good moments, a lot of the positive things she was doing, they didn't care. All they wanted to see was her yell at her now ex-husband, Chris Samuels, and she said it makes it easier for them, especially if Chris Samuels doesn't engage like that, or doesn't say much, or doesn't, you know, feed into a lot of the back and the forth and the argument. So it just looks like she's just this person who's just rah, 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 you know, at her husband and everything else. And so it's like when you just put it all together and you have all of these examples of all these Black women, and they even you know, took it back, and I think it was a caller that referenced it. Shout out also to the caller. Shout out to Show Styles and Spirit. Shout out to Braylon Lee. Beautiful seeing you guys on there, getting on the panel and giving your quick thoughts and opinions and everything else, because Braylon Lee brought up a good point about how Carlos King is saying in interviews, how if you're not going to share your life, I don't want you on my show, but yet you protect the people who aren't sharing their lives, and the whole attack is on Melody Cherie Rogers on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And then, you know, and I think it was Show Styles and Spirit, please correct me if I'm wrong, but mention how Carlos King has his favorites on these different platforms, and how now his favorite is on Bell Collective is Letitia Pearson, and of course her husband Glenn, because he's quit his job, and he has his favorites of people who are willing to do everything and anything for a reality TV spot, for camera time, for all the things. Now, I think Show Styles and Spirit thinks that Destiny is Carlos King's favorite. I think KEMPIRE might disagree, kind of what it sounded like, but I would say Carlos King's favorites are the people who are going to willing to do anything for camera time or to stay on this show. And it's been obvious to me since day one that it's Martel, because Martel has done so many things that are fireable offenses that nothing has happened to him. And also, I would argue the Scotts, because they're willing to, again, stir the pot, be in everybody else's business, and then have an issue if you come at them for anything alleged going on in their lives. Those are people who want this show. And I remember on the live that Marceau and Tisha did, where they asked what people wanted to see, make it make sense going into 10 seasons. But they got mad at a comment basically saying, if you're rich, if you're successful, and we're not seeing Black excellence anymore, why do you want to still stay on this show? And Marceau got offended, like it was like anything for this check, anything for us to be, famous. And it was very weird. It was a very weird response. It was a very weird reaction. But again, when you are in the pits of HELL, when you are in the circle of HELL, nothing matters anymore. And the one thing that they highlighted greatly, that KEMPIRE and WeGo podcast highlighted perfectly as it pertains to where we're at with Carlos King and how things are mimicking what he did at Bravo, allegedly, and what happened with the whole fallout with RAPE gate at Bravo, allegedly on Rojas season 9, is the fact that we're at the point now where we can't even, feel anything for these reality stars on these shows, because everything now is just so fabricated. Everybody now is just coming up with so many outrageous things about each other just to have something viral or just to have it so that the public turns on them. But it's really meant to destroy and try to ruin this person. And so they talked about, just again, the willingness that some of these people are willing to do to go to these lengths, and really just felt, speculated on, possibility of there being a class action lawsuit, perhaps if the people who have left the show are, perhaps, coming together to maybe file something huge against Carlos King, against the OWN network, reiterated that it's not just Carlos King in production that's the problem, but also that it is at the network as well, because who is, ultimately doing the sign-offs, who's ultimately approving these episodes, these edits to go to air and make it to air in front of all of these advertisers, in front of these broadcast and streaming services that air the show, you guys. So nonetheless, I hope I kind of tied that all up in a bow, you guys. But I felt, it was great for KEMPIRE to do this, because he has over 522,000 subscribers, and it's going to go out to a lot of people. I think last I checked, I think it has almost 12,000 views since I had last looked, as I'm recording this video right now. I'm sure it's going to blow up though. And then it was weird because today Carlos King had some posts. It was either today or earlier today about how he loves the girls. No. You love the girls that are going to be indebted to you, that feel like that they owe their lives to you. But as for everyone else, it is a wrap. And one of the callers, also put it eloquently on anybody that has the confidence, such as a Melody Cherie Rogers, such as a Winter, and others that, are confident, are nice, are sweet people, are genuine people who have their own, who don't need the show. Also, Aikisha Cologne and others. It seems as though Carlos King is bent on trying to humble those people, trying to tear down those people, and try to lower them to an even playing field with the people who desperately need this show, who do not have the coinage, who do not have the wealth to match. And and it's just disgusting to watch. And that's why I said with reality TV, it's like people want to pick and choose what they want to take at face value, but I always pay attention to the people who get the worst edit. Are you getting the worst edit because you're a bad person, or are you getting the worst edit because everyone else wants to gang up on you because you're the star, you're the genuine person, you're the person that everybody likes, you're the one that's popular with the fans? And they think that they can manipulate the viewers into thinking that if they all band together against you and make you look like you're a monster, make you look like you're a horrible person, that's going to bring fans to their side. But what they don't realize is it has people that actually turn on them more. It has people that can't stand them more. It has people that see right through them even more. And as a result, it all blows up in flames. Hence why we are in the circle of HELL. So there's that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Shout out again to Empire and We Go Podcast, or not Empire, KEMPIRE and We Go Podcast. Check them out. Watch the videos. It's 2 hours long, but I promise it's worth the time. Have some popcorn, have some wine, have some dinner, wherever you guys are, and just put it on your TV, put it on the big screen or whatever, and just sit back and watch KEMPIRE and We Go Podcast really break down surviving Carlos King. So let me know what you think in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post the content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.